And then of course, Chainsaw Man being the big highlight reel here. This was what everyone was waiting for. This is what everyone really wanted to
Literally
see.
everyone.
And it looked exactly as you would expect. It looked fantastic. Animation was exactly what you would want. One out of Mappa and two out of Chainsaw Man. I mean, I thought it looked great. I do have some questions about how far this is going to go, because there was the shot of like the graveyard, which there was that shot, which as we as read the manga, we know when that takes place, obviously. So I do have questions in terms of that, about how long this is going to go. But I mean, I thought the trailer looked great, and watching it's going to be just as dumb as it was reading it. It's going to be a good time just to kick back and watch a dude run around to cut shit up. What was you guys' thoughts in the trailer? It's about on the same par of just how incredible that it looked.
It looks amazing.
Go ahead, Josh.
I was just gonna say it looked amazing. A lot of people were talking about expect like heavy CG and stuff, but I mean it looked like Jujutsu Kaisen level of like just really good. It didn't have like the wonky kind of CG that Attack on Titan was getting a lot of hate for.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really impressed with it.
I mean, I would think. Did you have something else, Josh?
Oh no, I was handing off to you.
All right. I mean, as thoughts of how long this is gonna go, I wouldn't be surprised if it actually went through the entire bit of the manga that we know.
Right. It is short, so it wouldn't surprise me
either.
either.
It's a shorter series, and also some bits of it could be shortened down.
Yeah.
Because there is couple bits where it did go a little long, or were just like little pieces added onto one chapter just to transition to something else. So
yeah.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if the anime was just the entire part one. It would not surprise me, because you got to keep in mind there were some chapters where we had chapters stretch of where there was very little dialogue and it was just fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Those sort of chapters, let's be real, is like you could get like easily 5 or 6 chapters in a single episode and not feel rushed just because of how the chapters are actually paced. So that's something to note there. Josh, you got something?
Yeah. So I definitely think they will do the entire manga in one season, especially since we know we are getting Chainsaw Man Part 2.
True.
So that kind of leads into like, why would we want to extend the anime to cover all this if we know we're getting a Part 2 and possibly 3 or 4, however long they want to go with it. So it would make sense for them to just go do it all. And yeah, you're right. A lot of the later parts of the manga are fight scenes that are very extended, and a lot of the chapters we were reading, like you were saying, 4 or 5 chapters could be one episode, and it wouldn't feel like it was rushed any at all.
True.
So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like 25 episodes to cover 97 chapters.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he doesn't want to hit 100. Remember?
No,
yeah, he doesn't want to hit 100. One very popular anime that I do kind of relate to how to feel out of what Chainsaw Man is probably going to be. Think of One Punch Man. Honestly, I related to that where it's just like, hey, yeah, we're just going to drop a season for you every few years. You're still going to watch it. You're still going to love it, but that's about as much as you're going to get. I kind of view it like that, where it's just like, this anime coming out this year, it's going to cover the entire part 1 of the manga. Get over it. In a couple of years, we'll do part 2 eventually. I view it kind of like that. As One Punch Man's the same way. Season 1 came out, covered. It was only a 12-episode series, whatever. And only covered X amount up to the chat. Then it was like 3 years later we got season 2, and now we're a couple years out of season 2 and still no word of season 3. But I mean, it'll come. It's too popular not to come. It's gonna happen. I kind of relate. Exactly. I kind of see the same thing out of Chainsaw Man. It's just like, it'll come when it comes, and you'll still watch it. You'll still love it. That's just how it's gonna go, just based on the release. How many chapters, the content that we have, and that's just how I think it's gonna play out personally.
I mean, and Chainsaw Man's really popular. I know I foresee it being really popular after the anime releases. People will wait for it, kind of like One Punch Man, because One Punch Man is it's like a monthly chapter release, I think, or is it bi-weekly? I want to say monthly, but it's still ongoing. And I know a lot of places aren't doing the ongoing. I think the only 2 currently still ongoing anime are One Piece and Boruto, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
So I don't. Yeah, I see. I can totally see it being like, every couple of years a new season.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the most likely outcome. I mean, I'm really excited for it. Hopefully, we can get an actual release date for it here sometime soon. And we're still obviously, from everything that we know, this is going to be a Netflix only series. So with that said, all the episodes will get dropped at once. So we're still trying to figure out how we want to review it. May just do it as a couple of episodes strictly dedicated to Chainsaw Man as bonus cast or spoiler cast, however we want to label it, or where one episode we would cover 12 episodes in a single episode, just kind of going about it episode by episode kind of quickly, however we want to handle it. I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get here, but it probably won't be part of the regular AniMan Plus show. It'll be its own separate episodes.
With that being said, I do want to kind of throw something out there that I did end up having to research after someone did mention something on Twitter. It's not actually confirmed yet that it's going to be Netflix only. It's still just a leak that Netflix has the exclusive streaming rights to it.
Right.
So we don't know for sure if it's going to be like Netflix only, like say Godzilla Singular Point or Yasuke or something like that, or if it's going to be something more along the lines of Eden Zero or in Seven Deadly Sins, where it gets released in Japan and there are ways we could possibly watch it weekly, and then it just gets dumped onto Netflix later on. So there could be multiple ways that it could end up being, just because, after fact checking, it necessarily isn't Netflix exclusive at the moment.
Well, that's nice to know.
Yeah, it is. And, I guess we'll find out for sure how it's going to go down. I will say if it is going to be a Netflix only, while we don't necessarily love that for reasons of, we have to wait for stuff in most cases. The thing that we pointed out with Chainsaw Man is that it does give them the opportunity to kind of go free reign on things, with how it looks. Yeah. So that there is the plus side to that. But I don't know, I guess we'll see here in the next couple months about an actual release date, where it's coming out. We'll see all that here pretty soon. Excited to watch it. And
you can see in the trailer exactly how gory it's going to be, because they did not hold back on blood and the decapitations and the gore.
True. It's going to be a fun watch. It's going to be one of those where you can just kick back and just have a good time. That's what Chainsaw Man's going to be.
I mean, if you're not down for large amounts of violence, though, probably not for you.
That's very true.
Or forced dancing.
That's also true. So talking about a little bit of Chainsaw Man news here. Chainsaw Man does have 11 million in circulation. Shout out to that. And then another little tidbit for you is that the creator of Chainsaw Man does have they are publishing a one-shot in Jump Plus on July 19th. But question for you boys: 11 million circulation. That's phenomenal. Most series it's like, okay, that's a big dub. Let's go, man. Let's make some predictions. How much is this going to shoot up after the anime comes out? Because I think this is going to skyrocket. Personally,
I mean, honestly, I think it's going to do like Jujutsu Kaisen, where like Jujutsu Kaisen sales doubled when the anime premiered, and I think Chainsaw Man's probably gonna start doubling that once the anime does come out, whenever it does come out. Because when Mappa did announce that they put a TBD on it, so it's not fall like we were seeing, so it may be like spring or winter. So by that time, Chainsaw Man Part 2 could be out as well, which could, potentially even double things there as well.
That's true. That's a good point. What about you, Zach? Do you have any initial thoughts on how much the anime could just skyrocket these numbers? Like kind of like a JJK, kind of like a Tokyo is the most recent one that we've seen. Tokyo's been blown out of the water.
I mean, I feel like it will definitely jump the sales. My more thinking of is how much are people going to get attached? Because I assume the first episode will be fairly interesting with the whole just origin of him. But then my thing gets closer to, because I feel like it'll definitely get a big start with the initial stuff.
Yeah.
But then when we get to the later half, I wonder how that's going to go.
That's fair.
See, it's funny you mentioned that. I've just recently joined on Reddit, the Chainsaw Man subreddit, and people love the end of Chainsaw Man. Like, a lot of people love the end of Chainsaw Man. Like, I think we're
the minority.
We're some of the few that are like, what the fuck was that?
Well,
people
I can see why people enjoyed it, because it's just a bunch of friggin' blood, carnage, death everywhere.
Yeah.
But in a sense of fluidity, there was none.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I mean, if you're just down for a bunch of action, gore, and violence, I mean, yeah, by all means, this was the best thing ever in the world for you.
Yeah, and it also goes, it's something we'll have to see on like how many episodes Chainsaw Man's going to get, and where exactly, how much it's going to cover. Is it going to cover the full manga? Is it going to cover the first half of the manga?
Right.
So that could also play a part too, because if the end is what may trip people up on like really getting into the series, if it only covers the first half is gold. Like, it's
Right.
so good. The second half really is good as well. It's just a lot of like, what the fuck? And maybe way better animated too. Is the other thing.